Jason, thanks for coming on and doing a podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
We've had so many encounters randomly, out in the water, through business, and then just at a bunch of different places. And I'm just intrigued by how many different things you're involved in and how many different projects you have, from music to business to photography to traveling to surfing. And so why don't you just kind of tell us everything that you do?
Oh man,
and we'll start there.
I don't know if we've got enough time. Where do you want me to start?
Well,
where should we go?
Let's start with
which rabbit hole you want to go down?
Tell me about the marketing and photography kind of aspect of the work that you're doing right now.
Okay, so currently I work with Wells Insurance. I'm their production designer, and that means I'm doing everything from at the lower level, social media stuff, but then also writing blogs, writing newsletters, producing videos, doing a lot of photography, either for our website or for our YouTube channel, or just to, create content that is either super helpful for our clients, so FAQs, testimonials. So yeah, that's the majority of what I do for my job. And
professional Jason.
Yeah, professional. That's why I'm dressed up today. I had to be in the office today. But I had been doing that stuff for a long time. Prior to that, I got into doing photography and videography a long time ago as just something for fun that I loved to do. Even as a kid, I always had a little camera, a little 35 millimeter roll camera. But I really enjoyed, some of the work I saw some of my friends doing that knew what they wanted to do with their lives. I got a marine biology degree, but then I saw friends that were making films, and I was like, that's cool, that's what I want to do. And I was making little surf films and little edits for myself. Growing up, trying to get sponsors, and for the kids like Brett Barley and Cash and Morgan, those kids in Hatteras.
Yeah.
Getting film of them and working with Will Scuden. We were just making stupid, silly little Hatteras Island surf grom movies.
Yeah.
And that kind of turned into taking those skills and then kind of trying to make them a little bit more professional. I volunteered with Port City Church for a little while, got around some really good talent, Evan Vetter and Parrish Steichleather and Joey Connolly. Those guys were super big influences. I had a friend in Florida, Russell Brownlee, who was doing amazing work with nonprofits all over the world and surf companies. And they were super influential in me wanting to do that and to create and to tell stories. And I was able to start doing that, I think, really professionally while I was working for WB Surf Camp, where I would create testimonials on these surf trips I was taking these adults on, so Costa Rica and BVI. And I'd be like, so what's your favorite part about this? And they were just always lit up. They were always so stoked, and so stoked to talk about their first experiences surfing, and that always made me super happy, and was fun to edit and see their progression from never being on a board to now they're lifelong addictive surfers and they want to help protect the ocean, that kind of thing. So eventually I started my own company called 7 Season Films, and then I did everything from real estate photography. I started in wedding videos, helped out with other friends in their wedding photography businesses. I did some Kickstarter videos for local small businesses. Just whatever work I could get, to just keep myself diverse. And that eventually just led to me wanting to just get kind of a real job, as if that wasn't a real job. Just something more stable, something where I wasn't having to do everything. I didn't have to do all the marketing and the financials and the work and the editing. And I'd had a couple teams throughout that time that I trained up, so I wasn't having to do all of it. But some things changed, and I just wanted something more stable. And there's this thing called benefits that you can get with a quote-unquote real job, and PTO, where they actually pay you to not come to work.
Yeah.
So I finally was able to like be that professional surfer where somebody was paying me to go on a surf trip.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's kind of where I am today and how I got there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard this and I've experienced it myself, but the best employee or team member you can hire is somebody that's owned their own business in the past, because they're just like, I understand what it takes to own and run a business, and you know, I get it. You know? So
yeah, I mean, you definitely take ownership over your own work, and as a business owner, like, you're not answering to a boss, you're answering to all of your clients. All of your clients are your boss. So
exactly.
to narrow that down and be able to like only have one boss, but then also like have that ownership of your work, you want to make, like, your boss is your client. You want to make that client happy.
Right.
And that's kind of the mindset that I've tried to keep throughout my 4-year career.
Yeah. Very nice. So in addition to the job you're doing with Wells, you've got a couple bands. Do you still do some photography and videography stuff on like freelance stuff, like, you know, passion project type stuff, or?
Not really, yes and no. One of the benefits at Wells, thankfully, is they give us volunteer time off. So we get 3 days out of the year where they pay us to not come to work. But we can use it for volunteer projects.
Oh,
and
cool.
one of the projects I've been working on for the better part of a decade is with Plastic Ocean Project. So we have been working on a film, a documentary called If the Ocean Could Talk. And it's, you know, Plastic Ocean Project as a nonprofit are trying to educate people, do research on the plastic pollution problem. They use art to kind of tell that story and to drive people to care and to legitimize, like, hey, this is happening and this is how we can solve it. But it perks people's interest versus just like the doom and gloom of like, we're killing the ocean, we're killing sea turtles. Like,
Right.
It gives it a more creative edge. But the documentary we've been working on started long ago, where, you know, we were just interviewing local kids that were doing trash cleanups on the beach. Like, hey, what do you think the ocean would say if it could talk? And a lot of their answers were very profound.
What a great question.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool question.
Yeah, so that's where that started, and we have gone from there all the way to the top of the marine biology professional food chain, where we have Sylvia Earle, who, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's like the Jane Goodall of marine conservation.
Got it.
Answering that question for us. We have, you know, through that time, a lot of things have changed. Like, people are addressing the issue, but we're getting into a lot of other kind of rabbit holes of what is happening in the ocean, and, you know, like, we still haven't fixed the problem. So we have discovered people that are making ropeless gear that whales won't get entangled by. So, you know, you have a radio transmitter, or you have a timer on a lobster trap, which sits hundreds of feet below the surface, which would normally have a buoy hundreds of feet up. So you've got 100 feet, 200 feet, 1,000 feet if you're in California of line, and a whale goes by and wraps itself up, and it's not a good situation, especially if you don't find it in time. So some of these companies that we've discovered, they've discovered a way to make ropeless gear that, you know, we'll be back here in 3 days to collect this pot, and the timer goes off, buoy pops up, they have GPS locked where they originally dropped it,
No way.
and they sit there and they wait, and everything pops up, and they gather it, and no harm, no foul. So this film project has taken on a lot of different personalities. It's just massive. And to answer your question, that has kind of been a big focus on what I do outside of work with my video and photography. So Bonnie Monteleone, the original founder, she and I has spent probably hundreds of hours at sea, collecting data, collecting footage, diving in amongst the sargassum weed offshore. Sylvia Earle, the woman I was speaking about before, she started a project called Mission Blue, and she created all these hope spots, which are kind of like marine sanctuaries to some extent. And there's one right off of Hatteras, which is where I grew up, called Hope Spot Hatteras, which is one of the most biodiverse, rich places on the planet. And she's protected this place and deemed this place, you know, special, needs to be protected because of that. So we are working with a lot of different people, a lot of different agencies, a lot of different individuals, scientists, you name it, trying to tell this story of If the Ocean Could Talk. And right now, you know, kind of the main focus of the story is how can we save the North Atlantic right whale. Like there's only 300 something left.
It's crazy.
And they're not reproducing fast enough compared to the amount that are dying from.
And they're dying from pollution or
multitude of reasons.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's boat strikes, which is, you know, why all the controversy was coming up about, you know, boat speeds.
Yeah.
There's nets, there's ropes, there's ingestion of plastic.
Yep.
Now there's like, it's in the mother's milk, and they're like, you know, the PFAS stuff that we're dealing with, you know, with Chemours and the Cape Fear River and the River Keeper and our underwater aquifers. It's happening in the ocean too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things working against this species and other species, but specifically this one, that we're trying to preserve them so that future generations, children, grandchildren can see these things in the wild. Because these whales swim right up against the beach. They'll come right past the piers. They're, you know, during migration season, they're the easiest thing to see because they're right off the coast.
Wow.
Yeah.
And to just like support the ecosystem. Like if you start losing all these different contributors, like,
oh man, don't even get me started. I can go real deep. I can tell you about how the fecal matter creates, you know, carbon traps, and you know that kind of controls the, you know, state of our atmosphere. There's a lot to it, and that's part of the that's been what has been so hard to finish and lock down this project. Is there's always new research coming out to. It's just like exciting to tell, and like how do you tell all these stories in a digestible hour-and-a-half documentary?
Yeah.
So
especially in today's world where people's attention spans are, you know, like this.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on that video project?
Gosh, I want to say over 10 years, because Bonnie and I met on an airplane.
No way, really?
I was coming back from a music festival where I was playing didgeridoo with a buddy of mine. She was coming back from the West Coast, working with the Ocean Defenders Alliance. She's like, I have this idea of a PSA with some didgeridoo in it. I was like, I just got back from a festival playing didgeridoo. So we're in the Atlanta airport on an airplane, and it's a Sunday night, and they cancel the flight. And so we're at the desk, like trying to get our flight to midnight. And we all look at each other like, you from Wilmington, you from Wilmington? And 6 strangers decide to go to Enterprise, rent a van, and drive home 8 hours through the night so we can all be home for work at 8 in the morning. So we're all taking shifts, and that's how our story started. We're like, we're like up at the same time. I was driving and she was trying to keep me awake, or vice versa, and we got in this conversation. And
how cool is that?
Pretty wild. So like we've been very good friends for a very long time, and now I actually sit on the board for Plastic Ocean Project. She has left and become the CEO of another organization called Plus Nature. Okay. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
Well, I did get to meet Bonnie with you, like I think before the holidays we got together and got to meet some of the Plastic Ocean Project team, and I had no idea that that's how you guys met.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, most people don't, but that was the start of it. So like the first PSA was just like a slideshow of animals wrapped in plastic, and I recorded this little audio track with like whale sounds. Actually, I was like playing my didge, making whale sounds, and like some drumming and yeah.
In the didgeridoo, that's like an Aboriginal instrument.
Mm-hmm.
How the heck did you get into playing that?
When I was sophomore, junior at UNCW, I caught wind of the international exchange program, and I spent 6 months at Newcastle University in New South Wales. And being a musician and being fascinated by all the different sounds, I went down to Sydney one weekend, went to one of the authentic shops, bought a didgeridoo, asked them if there was like a local native Aborigine that would be willing to help teach me, and they gave me somebody's number, and I took the train and walked down to I think it was Manly Beach, and got my first lesson, and then spent the next 4 months walking around the bush in Newcastle just practicing and playing, and and I started incorporating it in my music. I got real into that was right when I first discovered Ben Harper, and Xavier Rudd had just come on the scene, so he was a big musical influence at that point.
And I don't know if we've talked about this, but I studied at Wollongong.
Oh, nice.
And when I was there, I had a couple buddies that were at Newcastle.
Oh, yeah.
And I never, unfortunately, I never made it to Newcastle.
Oh,
and
man.
We traveled all around. So that's one. And then Xavier Rudd, I saw him play. He did a concert at Wollongong. And so I got to see him play live.
No way.
And that was I was there in 2009, I think.
Okay. Yeah, this would have been 2000.
How cool, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Life changing for sure. So I've been back there many times since. One of my best friends lives there. Got several other very good friends through him that I've kept up with over time. And every time I go, I try to bring one back.
That's so
Or if I have a friend that's going like, hey, can you sneak a didge into your board bag when you come back?
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, man.
So you grew up in Hatteras Island. And I was going to ask, how'd you get to Wilmington? And I'm assuming UNCW, you came here to go to UNCW?
Yeah. So I graduated Hatteras Secondary School in '98. Yep. And at that time, I had some scholarships, but I knew I wanted to stay near the beach. My parents you got to stay in state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They thankfully, supported me and through college, which I'm very fortunate, and didn't have to deal with, any kind of tuition. What do you call it?
Yeah, student loans.
Student loans. Thank you.
Debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edit that part out. So UNCW was kind of the natural choice. While I was in high school, I actually took some college level courses through UNCW.
Okay.
That was probably the first. Yeah, that was one of the first classes that you could take. It wasn't online, but teleclasses back in 97, 96, 97 when we first started doing that, which was pretty cool.
Oh.
So I'd taken some classes. I'd been down here to visit, and I think it was my junior year. It was either my junior or senior year. My junior year, one of my science teacher, my high school science teacher, offered a marine biology class. And I was like, oh, I'll take this as a high school elective. Sounds cool.
Yeah.
And then I realized this is a college major. This is something I could do for a living potentially. I loved surfing and I loved the ocean. I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. So my senior year of high school, I got an internship with the National Park Service working with their sea turtle conservation program and sea turtle nest protection program more specifically. So that whole summer, I basically rode around with the park rangers, and if we found a sea turtle nest that was too close to the water or in a ORV driving lane, we would dig it up, we would measure it, we would take it somewhere else that was safer. We would re-dig and remeasure the hole and put them all back in exactly like we found them. And I finished my internship before school even started. So my whole senior year, I went to class in the morning, and I got off at lunch and went surfing. It was beautiful. And then I got into UNCW, and I'm like, this is the dream. This is what I want to do.
That's so cool.
I can surf. I can play with the dolphins and the sea turtles.
Yeah.
And then I never touched marine biology again.
Yeah. But somehow it's come back full circle, like your involvement with the Plastic Ocean Project. Right?
Absolutely. Like, yeah. No, I never lost it. I actually started working for Marine Quest while I was still at UNCW. Like as I was finishing up and like looking for a job, I volunteered pretty much full time at the aquarium. I became a master diver.
At Fort Fisher?
Yeah.
Cool.
Became a master diver in their volunteer program, like hoping I would be able to like get into animal husbandry, and that was my career path, because I knew I didn't want to go back to school. The people that were getting their masters and their doctorates, they were like in labs all day and sticking fiddler crabs with needles and hormones and stuff. And I knew that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. I did have one friend go and work for SeaWorld. Like she got the quote unquote dream job. Mm-hmm. Training dolphins. But no, I did Marine Quest for a while, and then I worked at the aquarium for a long time, and it's still always been there. And then Plastic Ocean Project obviously was a big trigger for me to keep up that education, and I was familiar with all the professors and scientists at UNCW, so I kind of already had some familiarity and some ins there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Man, so what was it like growing up on a sandbar in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean?
It was epic.
I bet.
It was the best case scenario for growing up that a kid could possibly have, especially during that time.
I wonder how many people have a dream of like, you on the road you see everybody with their OBX stickers and like, this is my happy place or whatever, but like to truly grow up in a community like that, I mean, it's a really, really special place. I mean, and you've had the privilege of traveling around the world. I wouldn't say I'm a world traveler, but like I've spent a lot of time in a lot of different countries. And whenever we go to Hatteras, we're like, this is really special.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was unique. It was very special. I would not want to have grown up anywhere else.
Yeah.
I actually moved there from Chicago. That's where I was born. And my mom had been vacationing there since she was like 13.
How cool.
My grandfather had seen the lighthouse on the cover of a National Geographic back in the 60s, 70s maybe. Mm-hmm. So, they'd been vacationing there for 2 weeks every year. They didn't go anywhere else. So by the time my mom married my dad and had me, like that was my vacation, 2 weeks every year at the end of the summer. Mm-hmm. And so, they were already in love with it. When my grandparents retired, they moved to Manio for about a year. They saw an old motel for sale down in Buxton.
No way.
And the next year, they called my mom and dad, said, hey, if we buy this, will you come manage it for us? My parents are like, leave Chicago? Like, absolutely. Yeah. And, 7, 8-year-old me is like, okay, so I'm gonna miss all my friends, but when I go on vacation to Hatteras, I get to eat all the like fruity cereals I don't usually get to eat. This is my brain, right? I have to eat Cheerios every day. I ate Cheerios every day of my life from when I was born to when I was 7 or 8 years old. But when I go to Hatteras, I can eat Fruity Pebbles, I can eat Fruit Loops. My grandparents, they'll let me eat Lucky Charms. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I'll absolutely go. So away we went, and yeah, I'm lucky I still have all my teeth.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't have diabetes yet.
Yeah. Was it like in the little like camping boxes, or did you get like the big boxes?
Oh no, we got the full size boxes. I mean, we may have had the small boxes for like when we were on vacation, but
because I remember when we used to go camping, that was something I looked forward to. Like,
yeah.
you know, like my parents would go to like Costco or Sam's, and they get like the 36 pack.
I think it was called what was it? Price Club back then.
Yeah, and like you know, you'd have like all the little individual things, and you'd open up the box, and then you'd like rip the plastic open, but you'd pour the milk, and you'd use the plastic in the boxes. Like,
oh, that's bold. I never did that. That's cool.
I thought of it. But so I mean, yeah, what like jackpots? Like, oh, I'm living in Chicago, and we're gonna and living in like when people say the Outer Banks, like living in, you know, Nags Head, Kill Devil Hills, like that area, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But like going on to Hatteras Island, like that's a whole nother level of being out there.
So back then in 1988, Hatteras was probably like the best. That was the best time. I'm just gonna say it was the best time.
And that's when like the lighthouse was.
Lighthouse is in its original place. The jetties were mostly intact. The
sandbars.
The closest stoplight was at like the McDonald's in Nags Head. So people would be like, "Where's McDonald's?" Like, just drive that way until you hit the first stoplight. But yeah, it was magical, man. Like, so we owned the Cape Pines Motel, which is right across from Connor's Supermarket.
I know exactly.
I was,
no way.
you know, 100 yards away from Natural Art Surf Shop. So,
yeah.
you know, I could walk to the surf shop every day, grab a Pepsi and a Milky Way from the grocery store after school every day. The Scott Busby's shaping shed was in his backyard. The glassing factory was right behind that. So like once I got into surfing, which was probably like around 9 or 10, I just lived in this magical little bubble of a world. And Hatteras was so isolated from everything else back then too. Like, yeah,
and
if you lived on
like
Hatteras,
pre-internet, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I mean, what a interesting
yeah, it was
way.
cool. There's like, you know, old photos on the walls of Natural Art Surf Shop of like the one photographer out there, Russell Blackwood, who would take photos of people through the 70s and 80s.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool, man. And it was kind of the Wild West too. Like, surfing definitely changed my life, and it has taken me across the world and introduced me to some of my best friends. And but back then, you were just a grom, and you were getting bullied by the older guys.
Yeah.
But you know, when you stepped up, they, you know, applauded you, and they gave you, you know, a little skeleton key to the magical kingdom. And you know, you just slowly build respect as you get older. And yeah, it was rad, and it prepared me to like have grit, because, you know, not just the surfing part where like you're just getting the crap kicked out of you when it gets big.
Completely humbled.
Yeah,
like,
but learning to surf those waves at that age, you can go surf anywhere in the world.
Seriously.
And that's why guys like Joey Crum and Cash Barris and Morgan O'Connell and Brett Parley, obviously, like, can do what they do, because you have to be able to surf that kind of wave in order to just survive, let alone be good and have fun. But yeah, it was super rad. And it's a great community, like having that small community of people of all ages, having that grit through, you know, the fishing industry, and like when hurricanes hit, and when roads wash out, and when bridges collapse, and when you can't get off the island for who knows how long. It teaches you community too, and it teaches you how to help your friends and your neighbors. And you know, that was very heavily instilled in me, watching this community always come back, always build back, always help each other. So yeah, that's definitely part of my DNA that I took from living there.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, you know, what are the what have you learned through surfing and life lessons? And I mean, and you said a big one is grit, and just like, yeah, it's a completely humbling experience when you're out in the ocean that is so powerful, and you're, trying to navigate a bunch of different variables. But, I mean, how I've always liked to tell people like how I, talk about how surfing has taught me life skills, and just the humility really is like the biggest one. You go out there and you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, on a sizable day.
We were pretty naive back then. Like we didn't know about consequences. Me and two of my buddies, Ryan Legowski and Jeffrey Midget, we would paddle out to the outer bar. Nobody knew where we were. Nobody knew that we were even out there, and we'd have 15-foot rollers just taking us down as deep as you can possibly go, and not thinking about like what happens if we snap our leash, like where'd Ryan go? Like we're just out there, and that's just what you do. That's you don't think about it, but then it also, you put yourself in those situations and you're just in the moment. You're not worried about anything else. You're focused, and you have to be calm, and you have to be able to react in the moment, because you're kind of in survival mode at that point. Like, you're trying to have fun. Like, we're trying to get barreled out there.
Right.
But also, part of it is you're not thinking about the consequences, and also part of it is you're comfortable because you've done it so many times, and you're in this environment where like you just got to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is it about getting barreled that's so enticing?
I don't know, man. That's
I mean, I have my
question.
own answer, but
What's your
think
answer?
It's different.
Let me hear what you think.
It's and I'm not saying that I'm someone that can really surf at an extremely high level, but every now and then I'll find myself into a good one. But it's like this moment where you're in it, and then as soon as it's over, you forget about it, like in this weird way, and you're just like, I need to do it again.
Yeah.
And it's just something that makes you appreciate all the work that you've done to be able to get into that position, right? Yeah. And there's this other thing that I like to talk about with people. It's like, I love surfing, but I love also having surfed. You know what I mean? It's like that feeling after you've done something that is just physically and mentally challenging, and then you get out, and especially on like a really cold winter day, and you're like, and you're just like, I just did something that's like pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
And I feel really good about myself. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the stoke, man. I think, to get to your barreling question, it for me is like time traveling almost. And like you said, you've worked so hard to pick the right board, be out in the right place at the right time, on the right wave, and you're just chasing this like weird little moment in time, and you get in there, and that's one of the few times in life, and only a surfer knows the feeling. Yeah. But you are in this like time warp. You're surrounded by water, but you're dry, theoretically. Yeah. And like time slows down in there for whatever reason, and maybe it's just the amount of energy that you're surrounded by. Maybe it's the adrenaline and how adrenaline kind of like works, but you've worked so hard to get here, and at the same time you're just trying not to mess it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't fall.
Yes.
And you just aim for that little point of light, and you've put all this work in to experience this thing, and I don't know, the focus to make it out of that then, and then you come out and you're back in the world. Yeah. All of a sudden you're like, who saw that?
Yeah, exactly. Looking out the back.
Did we get a
like,
shot of that?
Yeah.
Did my friends see me? Because that's the most important part, because they're not going to
Yes.
believe me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're like, yeah, you weren't actually in it. Like, dang it, man.
Yeah.
No, it's a wild experience, a wild feeling. And it is something that only few people, a fraction of the population, will ever experience.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, on a cold, brutal day when like people are just bundled up in their house drinking hot cocoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, this experience is even elevated because you're like, yeah, I did something today.
Yeah.
And it just brings you like elation and joy and, you know, a feeling of accomplishment too, you know? So, yeah.
And that, I mean, just drawing the similarities between like the discipline, the hard work, like the humility that it takes to get that wave, but then also how that's a metaphor for business.
Sure.
Right. And I mean, there's so many similarities, and like, you know, just like, you know, being an entrepreneur and a business owner, it's like, you know, just how many people are going to say no to me today? Like, who am I letting down? Like, you know, I've got this laundry list of things that I've got to do, but I'm just going to focus on what's important and trying to work my way through that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that it's a metaphor for business. I think it's a metaphor for a lot of things in life.
For me, yeah.
But yeah, when I remember surfing the first jetty, and this was the first time. Like, I was finally at the point where I could kind of hang at the first peak. I was still pretty young, and I dropped into this wave, and it was thick, and all the like older high school kids were out, and I remember this section just grew in front of me, and I freaked out and I kicked out, and they're like, "You blew it!"
I've definitely done that.
You should have pulled into that. I'm like, oh man, that peer pressure that, you know, I let down myself. I let down my peers who I look up to.
Yeah.
Like I want, you know, some sort of like, you know, I want them to recognize me as like, you know, I can do this thing too, guys. That pressure, man, like I never wanted to feel that way again.
Yeah.
And, you know, similar in another like parallel to that, once you get to a certain level too, and you're sitting out the back and you're sitting at the first jetty and a monster comes to you, nobody else wants you to catch that wave. They all want that wave too.
Right.
They want you to fall.
Right.
Some of them, I'll take that back. Some of them want to see you make it, but like others want to take that from you. And you know, there were kids, I remember there were kids that like, they would make fun of me. They would, you know, for whatever reason, like they wanted to see you fail.
Right.
And I think in business too, there is a little bit of that. There's like especially when you start being more successful or more successful than those who came before you, you start to get that like resentment, that like, oh man, look at like Jason's like actually, he's kind of surfing now.
Yeah.
He's kind of charging now.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Yeah.
And so that person then like, they'll come at you and they'll cut you off and they'll make fun of you and they'll bully you and they'll, you know.
Yep.
I've seen that in business before too. But at the same time, I've also seen I've had a lot of people in my life who are very encouraging and who are very excited to share in the successes, and those are the people you want around you. Those are the people you want to go on a surf trip with.
Exactly.
Those are the people you want to partner with, you know, and do business with. So yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that. There are a lot of weird little parallels. That, thinking back to my traumatic childhood, being yelled at by the elders, screamed at, "Don't paddle in front of me."
That's so good. Well, and there's like another thing. It's like, you know, the saying like, you don't know if you don't go, right? And like,
it always ran through my head.
Oh man,
always.
There's been so many times when I've been surfing, and in just every aspect of life, and I look back, I'm like, should have just gone.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst that could happen? Well, some bad stuff could happen, but
yeah, but you could come out on top. You could pull it off.
Exactly.
I think, what was it? There was a surfer magazine that I had, and it was a picture of Sonny Garcia, and he was doing a floater on like what looked like a 20-foot pipe wave, and it just said, "You don't know if you don't go."
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that dude's gonna break his knees in half. But it's Sonny, of course he didn't.
Yeah.
And we all love Sonny. But yeah, that constantly stays with me. My grandfather actually gave me like a little plaque, a little quote. And I think it was like a Theodore Roosevelt quote that said, "Dare to dream the impossible," because what you don't want to do is live in the shadow of having never known. This is a paraphrase.
Yeah.
You never want to live in the shadow or the darkness of like having never known what you could have achieved if you didn't try. You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that kind of sits on my desk also. But it's the same thing, you know. It's, you don't know unless you try.
Yeah. What would you say you're most proud of?
Whew. Pride's a funny thing. And I think to be proud of something, you have to have gone through some trials, you have to have worked really hard. And I think the thing I'm most proud of is my marriage, my relationship with my wife, Jada.
Awesome.
You know, we've been married for 22 years, and I'm not gonna say she puts up with me, but she does definitely put up with some stuff. But she is always supportive, always forgiving, always has high expectations for me, knows what I can achieve, knows my potential, even when I don't, even when I doubt myself, even when I look at that section, I'm like, I'm never gonna make that. Now I'd be like, oh, I can definitely make that. I don't care if I don't make it, I'm gonna freaking go.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of like partnership and encouragement that I think everybody really needs and doesn't always get. And I'm super, super lucky and very loved to have somebody like that as my closest partner in life. And I'm proud of myself for having worked really hard with that relationship, and on myself to be an equal partner for her, equal but opposite. Like, we are very yin and yang. Like, we are not the same person, and I think that's good because we balance each other. But yeah, like, you have to put in a lot of work. And sometimes it's work on the relationship, sometimes it's work on yourself. But in any case, like, you have shared goals, and you have to sometimes rework those goals, and sometimes they seem too hard to achieve, they seem too big, but you go for them anyway. So yeah, the fact that we are in a very tenacious world around a lot of people that, you know, that haven't made it. And yeah, I'm proud of the fact that we continue to push on together and work hard
That's
together.
Awesome, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a wife. We've been married for 11 years, and everyone like before we got married, you know, everyone told us, like, you know, meeting with the priest and all this stuff. It's like, you know, marriage is work. You know, like, it's a two-way street for sure. And you pretty much just summarized it pretty darn well. And like, that's cool. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's trials and tribulations for sure, huh?
Well, and there's just stuff that you don't expect. Like, you know, we don't, similar to, like, you don't get trained on how to do taxes in high school. You know, you don't get trained on how to like invest and like buy a house and balance a mortgage.
Which is crazy, by the way. Right?
Agreed. Right. So that's just my.
Yeah. Sorry to divert you there.
No, but it's
but
like
yeah,
the basic things in life. Like they don't actually teach.
It's actually like
do
survival skills, right? Like I mean, you could argue that how to balance a checkbook, how to pay a credit card, how to figure out your mortgage. Like it's kind of like a survival skill in this world.
Yeah.
But,
so similar to that, like the most important relationship in your life, no one really trains you how to prepare for that either. They don't tell you like, hey, you should start seeing a counselor before you get married. You should have a personal therapist. You should have
and by the way, that's not a bad thing. Like that's not taboo. Like that's actually a good thing, and it should be looked upon positively that you guys are prioritizing your relationship and that you're willing to work on it. Like, it's so like when people say like it's taboo, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to a marriage counselor. It's like, oh, they must have problems.
Oh man, I give high fives,
man.
dude. I give high fives to all my friends who are like, man, things aren't good. Going to a therapist, like, awesome. Like,
man.
You go to a coach to get better at a sport. You go to a trainer to get better, body image results. You go to, we go to all these things. You go to a doctor to get better when you're sick.
Yeah.
So like the most important relationship you're ever going to have, why would you not want to have the tools in the toolbox ready before you get married? Because like you get married, you're in love, you're in the honeymoon phase, you're like traveling, you're, everything's good. And then like you realize you're not financially aligned, or you realize you, I don't know, man, like parts of your personality start to come out that you didn't realize you had because of the way you were brought up, because like you're starting to exhibit traits from your mom and your dad. Like, dude, holy crap, like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I don't know why I react like that, but clearly I have like mommy daddy issues or something, and I'm trivializing that, but like that is the reality. Like we are not given the tools that we need at any point in our life to have a solid relationship with the most important person that is going to be in our life, hopefully for the rest of our lives. Like you find somebody, you're attracted, and you don't have, I don't know, you have the emotional stability of a 6-year-old because that's all you were ever, because that's all you ever experienced in your life, or just the selflessness that needs to go into a relationship to be able to really make a person feel loved and respected and cared about and thought of, and there's so much. So yes, there's a lot of there's a lot of financial and emotional and just hard work that has to go into that part of your life. And if you do that, your life is so much more enriched, and you work together as a solid unit, because I've seen so many friends that have broken up, and it fractures communities. It's not just like, oh, they broke up, that's so sad. Like friends just don't hang out anymore. Like entire, and not that doesn't even have anything to do with when kids get involved. But yeah, man, it should be something else that is not taboo, that we all get prior to getting married, while we're married, as couples, as individuals, and I'm a huge advocate and fan, and I've got somebody that, if you need somebody, I know somebody. I can highly recommend some people.
So what's the big, hairy, audacious goal that you
BHAG.
The BHAG.
Oh man.
What have you not tackled, or what's on the radar?
God, there's so many places I want to go surf. So there's a couple things. I would love to get this documentary done.
Yeah, you've been working on that about a decade.
And
it's a good amount of time.
Like, if I were to go full time with it, I think it would get done. Just the resources aren't there to do that.
Yeah.
Bonnie has been working very hard on her own, but she's also stretched in a million different ways. And there's always a new story that pops up, like some other rabbit hole to go down to like add to the story. So like that kind of throws monkey wrenches in it. I still don't know I don't know what I want to do when I grow up.
I hear you, man.
I'm still like,
I hear you.
I'm currently studying for my captain's license. Like, I don't have a goal for that. I don't have a solution that I'm trying to achieve. It just feels right, and it feels like, oh, I should probably add this to the list of things that I do. I'm a lifelong learner. Like, I just want to learn things. I want to achieve things, and yeah. So that's kind of on the short-term list.
So where's like, if I could be like, dude, all expenses paid, time is not a constraint, you get to pick a place to go surf, where are you going?
Oof. That is a tough one. I just went to like 100 different places in my brain just now.
You going somewhere where it's nice and warm and board shorts, or are you going somewhere that's gnarly and...
Again, like, I've been to some really cool places that I would love to go back to, and I was fortunate enough to go to some of these places before they were crazy or crazy expensive. You know, like I went, while I was in Australia, I went to Indo for 3 weeks, and it hardly cost anything. And, you know, Uluwatu wasn't built up like it was. We spent a week on a boat. We spent a week in G-Land. You know, my buddy Richard Prowse, Grasshopper Surfboards down South Carolina. Yeah, it was easy and it was cheap and it wasn't super crowded.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time, like, I might go back there. I kind of would maybe just go back to First Jetty on a perfect hurricane swell when it's just kegging.
Just with the local crew and your friends.
Yeah, there's still a lot of places I haven't been. Skeleton Bay at its prime.
Yeah.
It's just like the First Jetty, first peak, but the whole time. That would be pretty rad. I've been really fortunate and able to go to a lot of different places, but there is a wave. There's a wave in the Maldives that I would love to go back to and just live. Tiger stripes. I love that wave. That was a cool wave. Not crowded. Might have to edit this whole part out.
Yeah,
it's super crowded. Don't go. It's terrible. There's sharks and urchins
and tigers.
And tiger. Yeah, there's definitely tigers. I don't know. I've never been to Raglan in New Zealand. I'd love to go there. I'd love to go to Mundaka when it's firing. Last year, 2 years ago, me and my best friend and a bunch of other friends of ours went on a sailing trip around Tasmania.
No way. I remember actually, you told me.
Yeah, and it wasn't a surfing trip per se, but we definitely found waves and stopped and like anchored and surfed some amazing spots.
That's like at the frontier.
It really is, man. Like, that place is radical, and a lot of those places you can't get to without a boat.
Yeah.
There are places we didn't stop that I would have loved to have just like camped out for a while and like waited for a swell to watch it turn on. But it's so far away and so hard to get to. So if I had all the resources, if I could just peace out, I really loved it down there. It was beautiful. The water's crystal clear. The people, it reminds me of Hatteras. Like, the people are just salty. They're all sailors and fishermen, and it was really cool.
That's awesome. Man.
I was supposed to go back there this year, but I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, it's super cool.
Well, maybe we need to figure out how we could go on a trip together.
That'd be awesome, man.
I'd be totally down if you'd have me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean,
super cool.
There's so many good strike missions too around here. You know, Puerto Rico and Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm.
Great waves, easy, accessible. Doesn't have to like break the bank, and you don't have to travel for 48 hours to get there.
Yeah.
So, I think right now I haven't been anywhere all winter. I haven't been there anywhere in a while, so I'm kind of freaking out, frothing, and that Tassie trip fell through. So now I'm in the winter doldrums. I've only been in the water like once a month for the past 3 months, so I'm kind of like,
yeah, I hear you, man.
The froth is real.
Yeah.
So, you know, having a trip on the books always kind of helps you.
Yeah, there's something about like
focus on the
like,
barrel,
hey,
focus on getting out of the barrel, you know?
I know I've got something, I'm just going to grind it out. And yeah, there might be some waves locally that I'm going to miss out on, but I know in like 2 months I'm going to be here and it's going to be epic.
Yeah, it just gets me especially to like get in shape, you know, start working out a little more, eating better, and, you know, have a goal, you know,
yes,
something to look forward to.
Yeah. Man. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, man.
I've been really looking forward to this one because we got to talk about surfing.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, thank you for having me. It's
thanks,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
Appreciate you.
Yep.